Так ты можешь смотреть уровень там, ты знаешь, да? Отлистай вниз микрофоны. А? Потому что там есть много уровней, смотри. Там то, что тебе нужно, оно ниже. Воу-воу-воу. Вот оно, видишь? То есть желтенькое — это окей.
Хорошо. Воу-воу-воу. Итак, значит, все. Доброго всем утра, ребята. Спасибо, что пришли. Все молодцы. Кто-то пришел очень рано. Вот эти два парня пришли сегодня раньше всех остальных. Во сколько вы пришли сегодня? В 7 утра. Ну, на самом деле, можно было бы и пораньше, конечно. Но тем не менее. Значит, перед тем, как я расскажу, чем мы будем сегодня заниматься, вот этих двух парней хотелось бы отметить, потому что кроме того, что... Подождите. Кроме того, что они пришли рано, да, это их проблема, то, что там им не спится по утрам, непонятно, чем они занимаются, ребята пришли в тренинговый центр и не сидели сложа руки, не смотрели мемасики, а навели здесь порядок, расставили мебель, протерли столы и протирали столы. Молодцы. И вы отмыли доску от скотча. Отмыть доску от скотча было достаточно сложно, никто за это не хотел браться. Парни справились с этим и получили торжественно от меня, потому что больше никого не было, подвиг и 2 классных брендированных майки. Значит, для того и наклейки, безусловно. Для того, чтобы такие классные майки получить, всем остальным тоже нужно совершать подвиг. Отмыть доску 2-й раз подвигом уже не считается. Поэтому ребята молодцы, так держать. Вот. Всем тем, кто хочет, чтобы были такие майки, старайтесь. Мы с вами каждую субботу занимаемся интересными мероприятиями, устраиваем встречи, будем проводить хакатоны, уже провели код-ретрит. Сегодня наше мероприятие, оно будет и интересное, и полезное. Значит, полезное оно будет, потому что мы с вами сделаем какой-то кусок полезной работы, интересное, потому что к нам сегодня приехали наши хорошие друзья и дорогие гости из Вильнюса, ребята из Код Академии. Я думаю, что вы знаете, что такое Код Академия, кто-то из вас проходил курсы на этой площадке, поэтому ребята расскажут, как они развиваются, в каком направлении идут, и можно будет позадавать вопросы, и они согласились этот день сегодня провести с нами. Что не может не радовать, это очень здорово. Я хотел бы вам напомнить, да, то есть наше расписание было разделено на несколько этапов, и вы сейчас переходите к этапу, который находится посередине, когда вы должны будете сформировать команды, и заканчивается ваш индивидуальный зачет. То есть если говорить в формате, в разрезе армии, если кто-то знает, то на следующей неделе у вас заканчивается учебка. То есть к этому моменту мы считаем, что вы умеете маршировать, вставать по тревоге, заправлять кровать под линейку, там, слушать команды, но автоматов вам пока еще никто не давал. То есть до автоматов пока дело не дошло. Вот после этого, после этой недели и после, собственно говоря, сегодняшнего дня есть большой шанс, что кто-то автомат таки поддержит в руках, если эта аналогия имеет какое-то место права на существование. Значит, структура сегодняшнего дня будет следующим образом. Мы в первой половине дня послушаем презентации, поговорим про интересные вещи и сделаем небольшой воркшоп. Во второй половине дня, после обеда, будет обед. Это хорошие новости. Во второй половине дня мы с вами поучаствуем в так называемом тендере проектов. Это когда вы можете те идеи, которые у вас есть, прийти сюда и огласить на всю аудиторию. Например, я хочу сделать новую систему, там, социальная сеть для кошечек, да, или там, социальная сеть для домашних питомцев, все что угодно. Если вы находите единомышленников, которые готовы к вам присоединиться, то вы формируете проект и с этим проектом двигаетесь дальше. Но это будет во второй половине дня, а в первой половине дня как я уже говорил, мы бы хотели сделать несколько презентаций. И про Рубицу вы все знаете. Мы уже где-то вот полгода как познакомились с ребятами из Код Академии. Это было прошлой осенью. И обсуждали вариант, а как же найти какие-то точки соприкосновения между Рубицей и Код Академией. Ну и, возможно, такие точки соприкосновения найдутся. Поэтому я бы хотел пригласить сюда наших друзей из Вильнюса, из Код Академии, для того, чтобы они рассказали вам немножко про их проект, про их тренинг. So I will switch to English because presentation is going to be held in English. And Agustinas, you're going to be here and introduce yourself. And Andrews, right? So you guys going to be two of you, or?
Доброе утро. That's pretty much all I know in Russian. So, all right. So, as Sergey kindly introduced us, we met half a year ago in one of the events we organized, and we kind of hit it off from the beginning because we have a mutual interest to teach and actually educate people offline. And how many of you actually heard about Code Academy? Raise your hands. Everybody, majority of us, beautiful. So actually what you heard is the online version of it, and you probably took some courses on it. And I actually took some Python courses on there as well. But when I came back to Lithuania, I realized that a lot of people are not really confident enough to go and learn by themselves online, because they still need that kind of community around them. They need people to engage and actually build things together in a more responsive way. So with this idea, I joined the Code Academy in Lithuania, which purely focuses on face-to-face interactions. Pretty much what you guys do here. We have a very similar organization in Lithuania, and we have over 4 cities there. Well, basically, I'll walk you through it. All right. All right. So basically, I'll tell you a bit more about myself. I'm actually pretty new in this area. I used to work in startup ecosystem in London. Had a couple of startups. One of them actually exited very nicely, and at that point I realized there's a huge demand for tech people. And at that time I was working for HR, and I had to look and scout for talents like yourselves, and I was really struggling because I couldn't understand what is what and what is good and what it isn't. So most of the time I was just well, hold on a second. Am I speaking too fast? Sometimes I just start to rumble. So in case you see that you don't understand anything I'm saying, just say, yo, slow down, okay? All right. So purely, I was looking for talents, and I realized that it's very hard to choose the right talent, and especially in London where the competition is very fierce. I realized I need to get more inside knowledge about it. So when I met people from Code Academy, they introduced me to the whole new spectrum of what technical people can do and how you can rate them. And this is how I actually joined them. And this is where I took my startup experience and I brought it to Code Academy, and we started building a new academy, which is, as I said in the beginning, is mostly focused on offline courses. So, okay, so what is Code Academy in Lithuania? So I was actually thinking where to start telling the story of this. And I decided to start from last year. What happened last year was quite significant for us because we hit the benchmark of the most students we had over a year. So we had over 700 students. We reached a pinnacle, a benchmark of 50 plus. Actually, we have 54 lectures at this point, which range from PHP, Java, Ruby, Python, .NET, basically all the major languages. And one of the success key indicators we had was 80% employment. Because at the end of the day, as I imagine all of you actually studying right now, you want to have a job at the end of it. Because what's the point? Otherwise, you're more a rogue agent who's trying to develop a new unicorn by yourself or your friends, etc. So we're pretty confident about the results we achieved, but this was not done very easily. And going back to the beginning, where did it start? Well, oh, thank you. Where did it start? It was very similar to this environment. It was in a very small group of people who shared the common goal to actually learn. And in the beginning, we didn't realize, should we go for advanced courses, for intermediate, beginner, what kind of level should we test? So we started with purely beginner courses. And this is where we selected the best candidates, and then we realized it's not enough, and they want more. So then we, and the whole program was around 2 months, and we realized, okay, 2 months beginner course is not enough. Most of the people come from Code Academy online, so we already have some sort of knowledge. So we decided to make advanced studies, which last for up to 6 months. So, and this is like what you do now, but imagine that for 6 months intense bootcamp style. So ultimately, at the end of that, we realized a lot of companies are looking for talents like that, and they started approaching us, they started talking to us, and then we said, okay, how about we do some internships? Because at the end of the day, I imagine one of the easiest way to get into any company is to get some sort of internship in it. And so we suddenly got a lot of partners, suddenly we started growing in Lithuania, and the whole scaling began. And at the end of the internships, again, the whole purpose is to get a job. And majority of our students, as I said, around 80% actually after internship land a permanent job. Okay, so after that, we learned a lot of lessons, because building courses, as you imagine, it's not an easy task, because dealing with people is it's a challenge on its own. Learning is one challenge, but dealing with other people who are learning and who are actually trying to build teams and create their own ideas into life, it gets difficult. So ultimately, we decided to put our best practices together into the program which we called Studies 101, which is basically signifies what a study course, what a programmer needs to really obtain junior mid-level knowledge. And when I say mid-level, it's with exception of people who actually put a lot of hours. Because we had a lot of students who actually throughout the course, in 4th, 5th month of their studies, they just stopped coming to our classes. And we're like, okay, we call them, what happened? And they say, I already landed a job. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. Where are you working? And suddenly we realized they actually landed, well, most of them got a junior position, but very extreme cases got a mid position. But again, as you probably know, what is a junior, mid, senior, these are very subjective terms, because each company has their own evaluation of how they rate people. So, and this is where we started talking more to companies, because there's no standard benchmark. When you go to a job market, you realize that everybody has a different standard, and it all depends how you present yourself. If one person can communicate his knowledge and his experience and his interest in a very knowledgeable way, he can easily land a mid position, purely because of his communication skills. So ultimately, these small lessons, we put them all together into one program, which I want to kindly, well, shortly present to you. So we decide always with introduction, which is very similar to what you guys are doing here, except we go into more, well, I'll go a bit more in detail. And then we go into picking stage, and then we go into practice stage. In introduction stage, we usually have a 3-month course, which covers 8 modules ranging from backend, front-end, web design, even SEO basics. And then we have exams by which we evaluate everybody's level of competency, and then we suggest what to do next, which is basically choosing a 6-month program, which is mostly focused on either front-end or a back-end. Because again, most of you are here for Ruby, right? I understand this is the course. But this is not the only case. And some of you might be playing around with other technological backgrounds and languages. So ultimately, to be diverse is also an extra skill you can present, because you probably heard a lot of people are looking for full stack, and a lot of HRs are putting a lot of interesting names, what kind of people they're looking for, and they're very vague. It's very hard to pinpoint what exactly they need, because they do not understand what they need. Their team support or team lead comes to them and says, I need more people, just get me more people, and they give brief description of what they actually need. Well, for this reason, we kind of cover everything in intro, so a person can actually navigate, actually be knowledgeable about his experience in different fields. And in a picking stage, we focus on one niche area, which by the end of it, this is where you're gonna be, we kind of present you as that niche area developer. For example, we have front-end developers, Java developers, and et cetera, et cetera. After that, we go into practice, which we cover with guaranteed internship at one of our partner companies, which I'll talk a bit more later. And I'll make a small break. All right. So ultimately, why people study in 101? And technically, with this concept, we introduced another interesting point, was the green card, because at the end of the day, we have a lot of courses which are running parallel. And even if you're studying and focusing on, for example, front-end or back-end certain languages, you still want to polish your skills, which you can do online. But at the same time, we give you a green card to go to all the courses we provide. And so that really enables people to go outside their comfort zone and actually prove that if they're coping with their level of work very nicely, it's not the limit they should stop by. We really encourage people to go and stretch their limits constantly. So as I imagine, I'm really curious what you guys are going to put up today, because I imagine this is going to be very similar to the concept we really want to implement in Lithuania. So the green card basically gives you an access to all the courses we have, and you can access them online and offline at your convenience. Then another thing we focused mostly was the career seminars. And how many of you have actually went into career building for development? Yeah. Well, more of your personal branding as a developer. All right. So this is very interesting because at first we started without it as well, and we realized you kind of need it. It's kind of a bridge between the knowledge and what you put in practice. Yes. All right, one guy at the end. All right. Which is very interesting because in Lithuania, it's like, again, the markets are different, and you need to always look for a competitive edge. And I imagine competitiveness is common everywhere. This is how markets are run. And in that case, I really kind of highly suggest look into it, because it's going to give you an extra karma points when you go to an interview and you know your background, you know your technical knowledge, but you put yourself you present yourself differently, which is going to stand you out among your competition. Because at the end of the day, as I imagine, all of you are kind of competing for a similar place. So, and in life, it's always competing with other people and looking for new advantages to take care of. And then again, we go into online content, which you probably heard of, you tried it, and we all provide it. And we also record all of our lectures, and we present them online, so people can get flexible timetables and manage their time. And so basically, we're kind of looking for a way for people to learn and work as fast as possible. Because with beginner courses, it's nice to spend 3 months learning, but at the end of the day, you need to pay your bills, you need to start earning money, and this is where we kind of introduce internships after the 3 months already for the people who perform best at their exams. So we really work with people who want to develop their skills and really get in the market as soon as possible. All right, so the results. We were thinking how to summarize all of this, and we realized it's mostly about portfolio, in Lithuania at least. It's mostly about portfolio, the network, and certification. In terms of portfolio, each month we produce one project-based portfolio work, which you can already put in your CV, as we call it these days. And by the end of all the program, you already have from 6 to 11 portfolio jobs, which already put a lot of emphasis on your skills. Then we also introduce you to the network. And what does the network mean? Well, basically, look around you. You have your peers around you, but it's not the limit. Again, you need to go outside, go meet a lot of other developers in order to understand where is your place in this development world. And we kind of help you to do that. We bring alumni from all the other courses, from front end, from back end, from web design, from SEO, and we bring them together in alumni events, in workshops, in hackathons, because most of the time, a lot of great ideas are born in group environment when different people come together and share their ideas. So we really encourage that, and we organize events accordingly. And last but not least, and actually probably most, well, kind of important, certification. And how many of you have a university diploma? Raise your hands. Most of you. How many of you use your university diploma to get a job? None of you, exactly. That's even worse in Lithuania, actually. Everybody raises, and then everybody's like, oh, okay, no. So what we do here is, at the end of each course, once you finish the picking stage, this stage, once you choose the niche area you want to specialize, we provide certification, which is not just Code Academy certification, which you can probably get it online, or if you like, you can Photoshop yourself. We get you into Zen certification, Oracle certification, and all the others what are relevant globally, what are accepted globally. And in our opinion, this is one of the cases where it adds a real value to people, because it's not easy to say, I can do a lot of things for you, but I don't have any certification. And if I do have certification, no, my employer doesn't understand their certification, because there's so many of them. It's just like another diploma you can get. So basically, we really emphasize certification as the result of your studies. And now we reach the stage for your questions. All right, this went faster than I expected. All right, do you have any questions? All right, please, Sergey. Yes. Mm-hmm. 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 Well, this answer I can answer two ways. One, a lot of people go into beginner courses just to get their digital level a bit higher. And after that, we select the best performing students and then say, hey, you're doing pretty good. Are you thinking about a career in this field? How about, have you thought about front end, back end? Where are you focusing? We start going, this is where the career development comes in. Because making your own decision in this, without any advice and anybody to talk to, it can get very rough because you can choose the wrong path and go into front end, then you probably always wanted to be in back end, very specific area. And this is where we really help and we really emphasize, okay, if you want to go back end, most of the people in Lithuania, they go for PHP or Java. This is one of the most trending languages and very, very high in demand. I cannot stress how high. It's like we're all constantly looking for Java. Actually, Java is higher. Yeah, Java. Java is the answer. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. 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 They are rebels. And this is the battle we want to change. Because in Lithuania, a lot of Java is coming from financial institutions who are working mostly with Java. And these institutions are not that popular among this age group, I would say. And this is where Ruby comes in and says, okay, we do slightly different, and we're more diverse and agile in this way. And the battle is hard, because we don't have enough companies who are working on Ruby. But the ones which are, they're constantly looking for Ruby. And this is where I can probably count up to 10 companies in Lithuania who are focusing, who are using Ruby as their backend language. But from my experience, they're constantly, hey, do you have any Ruby? And I'm like, we don't, the market itself is too small in Lithuania to have Ruby. But what I see now, I see a lot of Ruby enthusiastic eyes, and they're like, oh my God, they need Ruby, okay. So Lithuania is a place to actually introduce yourself, and you can actually have a huge advantage because there's not many people who are actually studying Ruby there. And this could be a very nice bridge for you to actually introduce yourself and land the really nice jobs in companies which already get funding in round 2 or round 3. Mm-hmm. Any more questions? Any Russian questions, perhaps? Yes.
So when you start with the junior positions,
Mm-hmm.
what is the career path? Or like here it means, maybe I go here.
Come on up.
Here it means
Mm-hmm.
you can get, for example, you pass 2 months training course.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the market, and in a couple of months, you can pass technical interview and get junior developer's position.
Mm-hmm.
So after 2 months, you can potentially be hired as a junior. And then in the next half of a year, like 6 or 8 months, you can become more confident and say, hey, now I feel like more like a mid-level engineer. So why don't I change my company and I will jump over to the next company. And so here I'm a mid-level engineer in 1 year. So after a bit of time, like in 6 more months, a new startup appears, and they say, hey, we really need Ruby guys, and we don't really care about your experience, just join us. And that person say, hey, now I'm a senior engineer, so and, with 2 years experience here in Minsk, You can get titles of a senior Ruby engineer just having 2 years of actual production experience and not specifically successful. So what is the conditions in Lithuania market? Is it easy to get a senior, or what is your definition for senior engineer?
Well, again, we have a very similar situation as you just described. A lot of people who finish courses, they go into a market. First job they usually land as junior or pre-junior. We even have a pre-junior position, which is amazing. But anyway, they land a pre-junior or junior position, which kind of is a stepping stone for their career. They usually stay there for around half a year to get comfortable, as you said, and then they start looking around because we start getting scouted by all the HRs and all the people who are looking for talents. And startups is an ecosystem which is which does not really understand development as that well, because in startup there has to, I will say very simply, there has to be two crucial people. One is a business developer who's actually running the business, and the other one, if it's a technology-based startup, it has to be a CTO or a technical officer who actually understands the level and the level and qualifications they need to build the platform or product they need. Most of the time, they really lack on that technical person, because that technical person is usually that junior or pre-junior who just, oh, okay, this is a great idea, let's build something together. And this is where they step into a rabbit hole of not really understanding what it takes to build a startup from technical point of view, because they lack their own experience, and then they attract new people, another juniors, sometimes even mid, sometimes even senior, and then there's a lot of friction in between, because there's no clear way how we're building the product. And this is why when you're gonna get an opportunity to work in startup, I would highly suggest don't invest yourself too much. Play around with it. Play around as your hobby for a while, for a month or two, just to see what kind of culture we have, what product we have, what team we actually building. Because as Sergey mentioned, to get offered the senior position means nothing. This is just a title. This is why we really emphasize the portfolio, because even in Lithuania, it's very hard to justify, are you a junior, a mid, or a senior? Because sometimes we have a senior who comes to us to lecture. We give him a test of, we give him a mid-level test, and he scores as a junior. And we're like, come on. It's very hard to justify these things. So I would highly suggest work on your own projects, that's first of all. Put them in GitHub or whatever platform you use at this point to have all your code in one place as a portfolio, because this is what's gonna justify, are you a junior, are you a mid, or a senior? When somebody tells you're a mid or a senior, these are just words to get you buttered up, or I don't know how it's well, basically to make you feel more confident to join, and come on, join us, we need help. Because most of the startups, again, they run two problems. One is financial problem, we don't have money until we get funded. A second problem, we don't have human resources to build on. So usually until business developer is going to get money, the CTO is actually looking for, or CTO or COO is looking for people who can actually build the product to the minimal viable stage. And it's a nasty it's a nasty way, and it's usually has a lot of ups and downs, and unless you do your homework, you can end up in a very weird startups, which are nice to say that I'm a founder, I'm a senior, or a team lead in a startup, but most of the time they're just words, and it can actually be a small drawback for you, because you will be wasting a lot of time trying to communicate with these people and not really doing the work which you like. So yeah, I'm not sure if I answered the question, but I kind of went that way.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Mm-hmm. This is where we come to, the answer is no. We hire everybody. Anybody who can actually deliver. And deliverables are very important in any situation, even in Minsk, I imagine. If you don't deliver, they will not hire for any reason. But in Lithuania, English is kind of compulsory. You have to speak at least B1 or B2 level of English. Or in IELTS terms, it's around 6.5. If you have that level of English, you can easily land a job. And just recently, we were working with one of the leading software development company, which has over 500 developers. And they reached out to us and said, hey, can you help us find what was it? .NET developer, and we found a guy from Belarus actually, and he actually lived in Belarus. He was a senior developer in here for around 5 to 6 years. Then he moved to Lithuania to live for 3 years, and then he was not really focusing on .NET in Lithuania, but purely just because he had experience back in Minsk. They hired him and they actually asked, do you have any more? So that's as simple as that. If you speak English, or even some companies will accept Russian as well, because I'm not sure how well do you know how companies work, because some companies take local projects, some companies work with foreign projects. And if you're working with foreign projects, English is that level, well, is the language to communicate with. And I can give you a simple example. We had a student who was studying Java, and he was really good at around 4th month. He was already getting offers from companies. He was getting into different stages of interviews, but he was never landing a job. And he failed at 1, he failed at 2, 3, 4, 5, and I couldn't understand, because he had enough experience and knowledge, but I couldn't pinpoint what was his problem. Until one of my friends, who was one of the HRs, she said, he just doesn't speak English. And that was the key role. And it seems such a small detail, but it can slow your progress in terms of career development. So even if you have the best skills available, make sure you're not lacking in others, at least at the moderate level. Yes. Any more questions?
I have one more.
Please.
Sorry. So for example, when you decide, okay, I need to go to the training center,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to learn something new, our training is a good example for it. You have a pure goal, right? So in most of the cases, you want to get a job.
Yes.
Right? So I go, I study Ruby, and then I want to get a job to harden my skills in a production environment, solving real problems, like real world problems. But those who fail, actually, like
Mm-hmm.
not everybody can keep this higher pace
Yes.
and qualify to be hired right after the course.
Mm-hmm.
And then you feel like, okay, so I spent 2 months of my life learning Ruby.
Mm-hmm.
I failed technical interview, so I didn't get a job. So I wasted 2 months of time. So based on your experience, because you're
Mm-hmm.
running that more often and more wider, if you fail from the first time, what to do next? And what is the right way to actually get a job, maybe not from the first time,
Mhm.
second time, but
Mm-hmm.
in the long run to achieve this goal and to keep moving?
So as you mentioned, since the competition is fierce and a lot of people who are performing faster than you will get the job faster, you shouldn't take it as discouragement not to achieve and actually try again. So the first thing, don't give up, because giving up is the pure minimum. You don't have to do anything, you just don't do it. So not giving up, staying positive. That's another thing I face with a lot of developers. They kind of don't get the first job. Okay, they try again a couple of times. They go to 5 more interviews. They don't get it, and eventually they ran out of options, and they don't know what to do. Because keep in mind, I don't know how it's in Minsk, but in Lithuania, since it's a bit smaller market, once you send your applications to all the companies you want to work for, and they already reviewed you, they rejected you, they will not come back at you to look at your profile for at least half a year, because they don't believe that you've grown that fast. You cannot keep sending every week a new CV and just saying, I develop, I'm better now, which shows that you're rushing into it. So for people who have not landed their first job very quickly, I highly suggest to work on your personal development. This is the key, because you need to slow down, you need to reflect on yourself to see what's the best pace I'm learning and how can I accumulate speed through myself. Because you're no longer motivated by your peers who are just around you and they're maybe smarter, faster, or more gifted, but you need to really look inwards and understand, hey, I'm most productive in the morning, I need to make breaks this way, and throughout the day I want to achieve this result. And you for a month or 2, you need to work on yourself. Preferably this is the time for you to go and network, because this is very good experience networking with other developers who will again give you an advice, but also will give you a connection to apply again. But again, I jumped into another point here. what I was trying to say, work with yourself, time management, and try to accumulate speed for your progression. Because again, if you send to all your CVs to all the companies and we all rejected you, you basically have around 3 to 6 months to reinvent yourself, step to the next level, and send it to them again. But probably not sending by a CV, but actually going and knocking on their doors. But this is more an orthodox way of approaching it, because this is another thing we teach. Because this is when I focused on career development, this is what I mean. There are a lot of ways to get a job, and just by purely getting your knowledge right and then getting your CVs out there is not the only way. For example, all the jobs I landed, I didn't really look for a job. I'd never sent a CV to anybody. I went to a company, if they let me in, I went to the open days, I started talking to the people, and I realized, okay, I like the product you do. I didn't ask for a job in the first place. I did my research, and this is very important. The more you come prepared to a company you want to work for madly, this is what we're looking for. We can look past your lack of knowledge maybe, or lack of pace in terms of progress, if you have extreme motivation and willingness to learn, and you're like just passionate about the product we're doing it. Because we understand that energy can be converted into another exponential speed of growth. And they will invest in you for this. So basically, it's not only your hard skills will land you a job, it's also soft skills you need to learn to develop and present, which can land you a job. So yeah. Again, I can talk about this for another hour probably, but another question maybe, I don't know. Yes? Yes, we do. And this is what we focus. Every 2 weeks we do workshops and seminar. Well, basically we call it workshops, where one of them is, for example, the traditional CV, because everybody comes in, nobody really wants to write a CV, yeah? How many of you have spent a lot of hours writing your CV? Raise your hands. Yeah, so it's not many of you. And at the end of the day, this is the standard traditional form which HRs understand. Because another thing I want to point out, the people who you're applying to, well, the companies who you apply to might be great at software development and they need you. But the gatekeepers, the HR people, they are different. They are usually not that techy. They will not understand how good you are. It's going to be very hard for them to wait. But they do respond to social skills. So if you present yourself differently from others, they will give you extra points purely saying, oh, this guy is different. They will just put you on top of the pile and just show it to the team leader, team developer, or whatever. So seminars is one of the ways. So we go to CV, we go to LinkedIn, and then we go to career building. And career building is the most interesting one for me personally, because this is where we go into guerrilla techniques of how to boost your confidence and actually go into the market with a different kind of approach. Because it's very different if I come, it's purely like this. If I come here and I give you a very simple presentation talking like this and being very technical and I can do this, you don't listen. It's gonna be torture for you to listen. And developers are usually tend to be on this side. I'm not saying all of them are, but I'm kind of making a point that if you manage to stand out being a developer who can be confident in his own self, not in language, it doesn't matter how I speak. I can be making mistakes, it doesn't matter. But I'm confident in what I'm saying. I purely believe in it. This is what's gonna catch people's attention. And that's what's gonna, again, give you extra points with all the HR people, because they're just gonna fall in love with you. Because this is what we understand. They usually understand soft skills. Because at least in Lithuania, tech HR is, it's much lower than soft HR, I would say. I hope I answered the question. Okay, any more questions? What a shy audience, amazing.
Okay, Augustinus, thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you. If you have any questions, pull Augustinus over and ask him directly. We're going to be all together here the whole day. So now, okay, thank you. Так, сейчас мы передвигаемся, вот я вижу, что там ребят, которые чуть опоздали, стесняются проходить, занимать места, но, может быть, это нам и не понадобится. Потому что, смотрите, что нам нужно сделать сейчас, да? Все нормально? 45 минут лекцию, как бы, еще держимся. Супер. Толик, мне нужна твоя помощь. И еще кого-нибудь. Возьмите, пожалуйста, стикеры. И дайте несколько стикеров ребятам. Мне надо, чтобы у каждого была маленькая бумажка со стикером. И если там где-то, Лен, были ручки, то точно так же просто пустите в зал стикеры и ручки. То есть у каждого человека есть стикер, у каждого человека есть ручка. Мы сейчас с вами проведем очень быстро психогеометрический тест. И при помощи психогеометрического теста я смогу все о вас узнать очень быстро. И вы ничего не сможете от меня скрыть. Поэтому вот стикеры, которые есть, просто там ты взял один, себе на руку наклеил или на майку наклеил, на лоб наклеил Бакарана и ручку, да, возьмите ручку, ну или там как бы все нужно. Так, значит, я хочу вам рассказать, мы сейчас сделаем, мы переходим с вами к, значит, вот это вот очень важный момент. То, о чем говорил Августинос, подкрепляет ту идею, то, что нужно практиковаться, и для того, чтобы двигаться вперед, и софт-скиллы, и ваша креативность, и все это важно. Поэтому я бы хотел с вами провести небольшой воркшоп. Значит, пока стикеры, я что-то не подумал, что их надо было раздать чуть-чуть пораньше. Люди на галерке, пожалуйста, возьмите по одному стикеру и по ручке, вы тоже участвуете в воркшопе, даже если вы об этом еще пока не подозреваете. Да? То есть мне нужно, чтобы вот и Валик, и Сережа, я забыл, как тебя зовут, Дима тоже взяли по стикеру, потому что психогеометрический тест он прост, а value, который вы получите, пройдя этот тест, гигантский. Просто гигантский. У кого еще нет стикера? Или ручки? Ну или ручки там, нет ручки или стикера, да? У кого-то можно попросить рядышком ручку потом, когда. Значит, что нам с вами нужно сделать? Существует до сих пор профессор Сьюзан Диллингер. Это очень умная женщина, она занимается вопросами психологии, и она разработала, защитила там, кандидатскую, докторскую по теме персонализации. То есть как можно определить, как распределить людей, да? Как распределить их по их персонале. То есть если не брать в расчет там, гендерное различие, там, расовые различия и все прочее, что может человека обидеть, а вы понимаете, что в современном мире там тема харассмента и это все очень горячо. Вот она разработала свою систему, защитила ее успешно и теперь пилотирует везде, где только можно. Мне эта система тоже нравится, и я вам предлагаю ее попробовать. Значит, психогеометрический тест от Сьюзан Диллингер заключается в том, что я не знаю, как вы относитесь к каким-то тонким жизненным аспектам, но там, к музыкальным группам или еще к чему-то. Но я однозначно знаю, что вы все нейтрально относитесь к геометрическим фигурам, да? То есть нет. Так, плевал я на тех, кто не То есть, возможно, кого-то ассоциативность с геометрическими фигурами могла бы обидеть или оскорбить, но на этот уровень мы опускаться не будем. Поэтому психогеометрический тест говорит следующее. Я вот сейчас там, за 30 секунд очистите свое сознание и на бумажке нарисуйте одну из предложенных фигур. Да? То есть, и вот ребят, которые тренера, менторы, сделайте то же самое и на грудь себе просто наклейте потом. Есть треугольник.
Понимаешь, на грудь только звезду можно клеить.
Квадрат. Значит, не будем клеить на грудь. Круг или звезда. Вот задумайтесь на секунду. Не нужно руководствоваться ничем. Вот какая-то фигура вам нравится больше. И значит, такую фигуру себе мы и рисуем. Треугольник, квадрат, Михаил.
На весь стикер или я влезу.
Вот это уже, то есть вот на месте стикер ты ее нарисовал, оставил ее место. Сьюзан Диллингер защитила кандидатскую и может точно про тебя сказать. Все нарисовали, да? Нет. Давайте, вот теперь. Нет, 30 секунд, одну нужно выбрать. Круг жив. Можете проверить на нерусскоговорящем человеке, если прочитать в обратном направлении эти символы, получается слово, не все смогут догадаться, но это к психогеографическому тесту жопа. Опять-таки, не имеет никакого отношения. Так, поднимите, пожалуйста, треугольники, руки в треугольник, да? Квадраты, круги, звездочки. Отлично. Хорошо. Все именно так, как и было задумано. Все идет по плану. Значит, смотрите, что мы с вами сейчас будем делать. Мы сейчас с вами сформируем ячейки, и каждая ячейка должна будет поработать в течение 10 минут. Не поленитесь, это немного, результат получите хороший, большой, на одной общей задаче. Задачу будем решать на бумаге. То есть вот там ребята разложили бумагу с маркерами, с карандашами, со стикерами. Сколько у нас спотов там? 7 спотов где-то, да? Ну, если вдруг кто-то там не разберется, сделаем чуть-чуть больше. Простые правила, да? То есть мы с вами сейчас разобьемся на группы, будем работать 10 минут, работаем руками, маркерами, стикерами. То есть результат вашей работы это что-то, что можно вот так вот на бумажке поднять и показать. Да? То есть вот за 10 минут что-то сделали в команде, вот так вот подняли и показали. Показали и рассказали на презентацию 1 минуту. 1 минуту сделаем, заодно потренируем ваши софт-скиллы. Значит, супер важно быть вежливым, не грубить друг друга, не говорить, это плохая, моя идея лучше. Если хотите свою идею предложить, вы конструктивно к этому подходите, говорите, да, как классно, но может быть рассмотреть и такой вариант. И если человек высказывается, давать ему высказать. То есть вот простые правила работы в группе. Ни в коем случае там, не стрелять друг друга пистолетом, не использовать грубую физическую силу, быть максимально вежливым и целиться на результат. Значит, какую задачу мы с вами будем решать? Сейчас, вот буквально там за минуточку до того, как мы с вами разберемся по нашим спотам в этом креативном воркшопе, я объясню вам задачу и дальше уже как бы по этому регламенту побежим. Значит, все, у кого Tinder стоит на телефоне?
Не ожидал, да? Смотря в какую сторону еще свайпали.
Окей, я не подумал, что не стоит спрашивать. Но все представляют себе, что такое Tinder и как он работает, да? То есть Tinder это новый интерфейс, при помощи которого, свайпая вправо или влево, вы определяете, там, хорошо или плохо, нравится или не нравится, и там, что мы будем делать. Значит, идея на креативный воркшоп это придумать Tinder для программистов, да? То есть вот вы тоже что-то можете свайпать, причем идеи могут быть разные. Делать код-ревью по принципу Тиндера, находить человека в команду, писать тесты, заливать на сервер. Да, да, все, я не говорю больше ничего, и я не хочется. Ну ладно. Поэтому это креативный воркшоп. Да? То есть ваша идея сейчас потратить 10 минут в команде и придумать идею Tinder для программистов. То есть Tinder в кавычках надо написать. То есть вот это такая супер простая система свайпать вправо или влево, но только для программистов. Ответить на 3 вопроса. Да? То есть у вас четко это должно быть в презентации минуту, когда вы будете держать ваш плакат, да? Какую проблему это решает, почему это инновационно и кому станет от этого лучше. Да? То есть если этот проект будет существовать, кому от этого станет лучше. Поэтому смотрите, давайте так. Сейчас треугольнички встаем и по 2 треугольничка распределяемся возле, можно брать с собой стулья, распределяемся возле бумажек. То есть берите бумажки, располагайтесь. Треугольнички. Пока только треугольнички. Валик и Толик, помогите ребятам, пожалуйста, там в конце растусоваться.
А это же не психологический тест, да?
Это психогеометрический называется тест. разметить, вот это вот квадратики и звездочки это одна группа, вот это вот квадратики и звездочки это другая группа. Кто-то из вас пойдет, возьмет себе большую бумажку и маркеры и находите здесь места, где вам удобно будет работать.
Could have put Zane on it, but I put your name on it. I got a bag, put your name on it. Put your name on it. Got a kiss, put your name on it. Put your name on it. Love me good, love me down, turn me down, turn it down, baby. Put your name on it. Put your name on it.
She said she too young, don't want no man. So she gon' call her friends, now that's a plan. I just ordered sushi from Japan. Now yo bitch wanna kick it, Jackie Chan. Drop top, how we rollin' down on Collin South Beach. Yeah, look like Kelly rollin', this might be my destiny. She want me to eat it, I guess then it's on me. Know I got the sauce like a fucking recipe. She just wanna do it for the grand. She just want this money in my hand. I'ma give it to her when she dance, dance, dance. She gon' catch a Uber out the Calabasas. She said she too young, don't want no man. So she gon' call her friends, now that's a plan. I just ordered sushi from Japan. Now yo bitch wanna kick it, Jackie Chan. She said she too young, don't want no man. So she gon' call her friends, now that's a plan. I just ordered sushi from Japan. Now yo bitch wanna kick it, Jackie Chan. I think you got the wrong impression about me back. Just cause they heard what hood I'm from, they think I'm crazy. Okay, well maybe just a little crazy. Cause I admit I'm crazy about that lady, yeah. Finger to the world, as fuck you pay. I've been slaving, run the pussy cause I'm running out of patience. No more waiting, no, no. Bouncing like a yo-yo. Living life on fast forward, but we fucking slow-mo, yeah. She said she too young, don't want no man. So she gon' call her friends, now that's a plan. I just ordered sushi from Japan. Now yo bitch wanna kick it, Jackie Chan. She said she too young, don't want no man. So she gon' call her friends, now that's a plan. I just ordered sushi from Japan. Now yo bitch wanna kick it, Jackie Chan. I can't wait for the show. Got that good, yeah, I know. You should not be alone. All this drink got me going. Car got me right, and I feel so alive. Hey, she don't wanna think, she don't wanna be no wife. She just wanna stay out late, she just wanna sniff the white. Can't tell her nothing, no, can't tell her nothing, no. She said she too young, don't want no man. So she gon' call her friends, now that's a plan. I just ordered keychain. Spent 24 hours, I need more hours with you. Spent the weekend getting even. Ooh. We spent the late nights making things right between us. Now it's all good, babe. But I thought would, babe. And let me close. 'Cause girls like you run around with guys like me. So now when I come through, I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. Girls like you love fun and yeah, me do what I want when I come through. I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I need a girl like you. I spent last night on the last flight to you. We took a whole day up, trying to get way up. Ooh. We spent the daylight trying to make things right between us. And now it's all good, baby. But I thought would, babe. And let me go. These girls like you run around with guys like me. So now when I come through, I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. Girls like you love fun and yeah, me do what I want when I come through. I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. I need a girl like you. Maybe it's 6:45. Maybe I'm barely alive. Maybe you're taking my shit for the last time. Yeah. Maybe I know that I'm drunk. Maybe I know you're the one. Maybe I'm thinking it's better if you drive.
Not too long ago, I was dancing for dollars. No, it's really real if I let you be my mama. You don't want a girl like me, I'm too crazy. Where every other girl you meet is fugazi. I'm sure them other girls were nice enough, but you need someone to spice it up. So who you gonna call? Cardi, Cardi. Come and rev it up like a Harley, Harley. Why is the best fruit always forbidden? I'm coming to you now doing 20 over the limit. The red light, stop. I don't play when it comes to my heart, let's get it though. I don't really want a white horse in a carriage. I'm thinking more white horses and carriage. I need you right here, cause every time you fall, I play with this kitty like you play with your guitar.
'Cause girls like you run around with guys like me. So now when I come through, I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. Girls like you love fun and yeah, me do what I want when I come through. I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I need a girl like you, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I need a girl like you.
I never meant to leave you hurting. I never meant to do the worst thing. Not to you. 'Cause every time I read your message, I wish I wasn't one of your exes. Now I'm the fool. Since you've been gone, been dancing on my own. These boys up in my zone, but they can't turn me on. 'Cause baby, you're the only one I'm coming for. I can't take no more, no more, no more. I wanna but I'm broken hearted. But I like to party. But I got nobody here on my own. I wanna but I'm broken hearted. Since the day we partied.
taking